Welcome to another lesson of Adobe Photoshop. In this lesson, we are going to learn about how we are going to make a vintage car t-shirt design. Well, there are going to be a lot of steps today, but all of the steps I've been showing it to you for the past couple of, the lessons. Well, this is going to be quite simple. If you've seen my previous lesson, we are going to follow the same steps, but we just have to take in the details, and if you want to make up your own details, you can also do that too. But first off, you're going to need a resource. First off, I'm going to do the same thing of opening up a new document. From here, what we're going to do is I'm going to clicking on here, clicking on inches. I'm going to do is keep it to be width to be 6 and height to be 9. Okay, resolution 300 pixel per inch, 8-bit custom. Now I'm going to keep it to be white because I need it to be white, and keep it RGB color, sRGB, and square pixel. After you're done, just click on create and you will see that will appear up on your screen. Now I'm going to do is open up all of the resources because we are going to need a lot of the details to make up this design, and obviously it's going to take a lot of time. First off, I'm going to do is click on layers. I'm going to click on here. Okay, let's just not start off with this one. Okay, but first I'm going to do is press on delete. I'm going to open up a couple of files or a couple of resources which I'm going to need. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to do is, let's say I'm going to go over where I have all of the documents, which is going to be desktop. Yes, I'm going to do is open up the car folder first, or let's say the car photo. Now you will see that photo will appear up on your screen. It's going to take a bit of a time to process and then put it up on your screen. Now you can see it has been put up on your screen. So the next thing what we're going to do is copy this part or select this part, which part we are going to need. So what I'm going to do is take this part only, but you can also start off with the background. If you want to start off, I'm going to click on over here. Now let's say I'm going to use or make a shape or a square shape. Right click on it. I'm going to use the rectangle tool to make out the border for the design. And so I'm going to do is keep it like this. This is going to be the border of the design. I'm going to keep it over here so that I can put all of the design on this, section. I'm going to do is select on this move tool and move it over here. Now you can see this is almost doable or placeable. I'm going to do is select this part first. First I'm going to do is go over here. I'm going to change the color. So let's say I'm going to keep it to be white. Now, as this is white, I will be needing to change the stroke, but I'm gonna do is select this part first. I'm gonna click on over here, select on the selection tool, quick selection tool. I'm gonna do select on this plus sign and select on the parts which I'm going to need. Okay, I'm gonna select on this car only. So I'm gonna do select this car. You can see from over here, I'm selecting all the parts of the car, and if you feel like you've extended a part or which part you don't need to use, you can remove that too later on. What I'm going to do is select all the parts first, and later on I'm going to remove those parts which I'm not going to need. Select on these parts too. Let's say I'm going to select all over these places. You can see how good it actually looks. You can see I'm selecting these parts too. You can see now it has been selected. Now you might see that there are a couple of parts which we don't need. So I'm going to do is select on this move tool. I'm going to zoom in, press on Alt, and you can select the parts which you don't need. Let's see these parts I don't need. I can also see a couple of parts which I don't need. You can also select this part which I don't need. You can also select this area which I did a mistake on, not clicking or selecting it perfectly. You can see it looks a lot more better now. After you're done, what I'm going to do is press on zoom out. I'm going to do is select on this selection tool again. I'm going to select this part which we are going to need. And after I'm done, I'm going to do the same thing, clicking on layers, adding in the mask tool, and it's going to make up that mask for me. So I'm going to go over here and just click on this, and you can see this part has been selected. What I'm going to do is take this part, click on this move tool, take this part over to this rectangle area, paste it over here. You can see this part has been, selected and pasted over here. I'm going to do is resize it and keep it right over here. If you feel like you did a mistake on a couple of these parts, you can also do that too. Let's say I'm going to do is remove it, press on delete. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to do is remove a couple of parts. I'm going to click on this selection tool again. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to do is remove these parts which I don't need. You can see these parts will be removed. You can see layer 2 has been selected, or layer 0. I'm going to go over the layers, select on this area, click on delete. I'm going to do is layer 1 to be deleted, as I don't need layer 1. I'm going to do is select tool again, zoom out, select all of the areas which I'm going to use. I do select all of the parts again, and then remove it accordingly so that I can make it to be perfect, which you can see from over here. Now, as all the parts have been selected, and I'm going to do is take this screen a bit, zoomed out. I can see it has been perfectly selected. And I'm going to select on this minus tool and select these parts too, which I don't need. You can see from over here too. What I'm going to do is select the parts which I don't need, which is going to be this area too, this area too. What I'm going to do is select on this tool and select this part because I'm going to need that. What I'm going to do is remove those areas which I don't need. Well, it takes a bit of a time to actually get a perfect result. What I'm going to do is remove these areas. Now I'm going to do is click on clipping. Click on this and you will get your perfect size or perfect shape. Click on this. And then you'll be able to make a clipping from over here when you selected all the parts. But if you cannot, what you're going to do is press on Ctrl Z and undo all the process. What I'm going to do is select on this. What I'm going to do is select on this, and I'm going to do is delete. Select on this area too, press on delete. What I'm going to do is delete those areas. Delete. Now I'm going to do the same thing over here by minus. Select those areas which I don't need. Select those areas too. See how it actually looks like from over here. I'm going to go over to the side which I don't need, which parts I don't need. I'm going to go over there. You can see these parts I don't need actually. Okay. And select on the parts which you actually need. So now I have got a better result from the previous one. Okay. Then you can do is select on the areas and click on mask and then make up your design and copy it directly to the file where you want to apply it on. You can see these parts have not been selected perfectly, so I'm going to select those areas. Now I'm going to do is click on this clipping mask, and now you can see this is a lot more better. Click on this move tool. I'm going to just take it over there and paste it over here. Now I'm going to do is resize it back again. I'm going to keep it over here. Now I'm going to do is click on this tool. Now you can see it has been applied. Now it looks a lot more perfect. Okay. So this is going to be layer 1. I'm going to name it to be the car. Okay. I'm going to apply the text over here. Click on files, click on open. Now I'm going to open up the text. So I'm going to go down and find out the vintage text which I have in this file. So I'm going to go down and select on the text which I'm going to use. You can see I have the file over here. I'm going to click on it and select on this text. I'm going to do the same thing of copying it. Okay, I'm going to do is click on this selection tool. I'm going to do is select the parts which I'm going to need. I'm going to click on these areas, which you will see will be selected in a couple of while or in a time. I'm going to do is select all of the areas which I'm going to need and put it directly on the file which I'm going to use. Now I'm going to do is select on these areas. You can see this is being selected. See, it is being perfectly selected just the way I want it. If you feel like you didn't select a part which you actually need, you can select those areas too. Let's say I'm going to select on these areas which I'm going to need. What I'm going to do is drag my mouse over there so that I can use it for various purposes. You can see this is now a lot more perfect. Select on these areas too. You can see it looks a lot more better. I'm going to select on these areas too and keep it like this. Okay, this looks a lot more better. And then what I'm going to do is obviously select on the areas which I don't want. So as I've selected the parts which I need, I'm going to go over to the areas which I don't need. So click on this minus tool, zoom in and remove the parts which you don't need. Select on these areas which I don't need. You can see how it is being perfectly applied. What I'm going to do is remove those areas too. You can see this has been selected. This has been selected. Select on these areas too. And see how it actually looks like. If you feel like you're making a mistake, you can remove it for later purpose too. Go over here and select on this area. I'm going to zoom in a bit more. What I'm going to do is select on this tool and decrease the size. What I'm going to do is zoom out. Click on this plus tool, and select on this area. I'm gonna go over there and use the tool to like drag it over there, and then I'm gonna do is obviously select on this plus or minus tool, plus or minus, whichever one you want, and click on this minus tool again, select on this area, take it to the side which you don't want. Let's say most of the part has been selected, okay, which I don't need, or has been selected perfectly. I'm gonna select on this area too, select on this area, and now we have it to be perfect. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing of clipping in the text again. Create mask. Now you can see it has been selected. What I'm gonna do is click on the move tool, take it over to this page. I'm gonna paste it over here, Control Z if you want to undo it, but you can like resize it over here and paste it like this. You can see how good it actually looks. Then keep it over here. Let's say vintage. Keep it over here, which I'm going to use right now. It's going to be vintage. I'm going to do is open up some lines, which I'm going to use right now. Click on file. I'm going to do is open up another one. Click on this first. I'm going to do is open up another one, which is going to be the lines of, you know, a couple of, let's say, details which I want to put in this texture or in this design. And click on open, and you can see these lines will appear up. I'm going to do the same thing of copying a like selected line which I can use. Let's say I want to use this one. If I want to use this one, I'm going to use this tool again, output selection. What I'm going to do is zoom in. I'm going to select this area. Let's say I'm going to select this part. You can see how good it has been selected. Well, it takes a bit of a time to select these parts, okay? But we can like change it to for various purposes, or you know, later on. So I'm going to do is first off select the areas which I need, and then later on I'm going to remove the parts which I don't want. You can see a lot of parts have been perfectly selected and a lot of parts have been removed too. So I kind of like the result. And after you're done, I'm going to do is select on these areas. You can keep it like this too if you want to. I can keep it like this and use the whole thing together. But if you don't want it, just click on this tool and to select those areas which you don't need. You can see these has been perfectly removed too. Okay. After you're done, just click on this clipping tool again, and you can see these parts have been selected. But don't worry, we can remove that later on too. So I'm going to click on this move tool, take it over there on this untitled file, and keep it over here. And take it over here. What I'm going to do is zoom it out and keep it over here. What I'm going to do is right click on it. What I'm going to do is make a clipping mask. Clipping mask. What I'm going to do is keep it over here so that it is visible. It is visible on this rectangle. I'm going to create clipping mask again. Now you can see this has been turned into a clipping mask. What I'm going to do is keep it around here or there, wherever you want. Let's say I want to keep it over here. If you want to use it, you can use it, but if you don't want to use it, you can also like not use it. Okay, that's like totally up to you how you're going to work with it. I'm going to do is keep it around here. And do is increase the size a bit more so that it looks perfectly designed, perfectly aligned. You can see how it actually looks like. And after you're done, what I'm going to do is take all of these parts, and if you want to add in more text, you can do that too. So I'm going to do is click on this. Okay, I'm just going to like place it wherever I want it. You can also apply a couple of designs too. That's like totally up to you how you're going to work with it. Click on this. You can see this has been applied. I'm going to do is select all of these parts and convert it into a smart object. Right click on it, convert to smart object. Now all of them has turned into a smart object. What I'm going to do is apply another layer. What I'm going to do is layer 2. What I'm going to do is add in a couple of text. Let's say retro, or let's say Cadillac. Okay, I'm going to click on this text tool. What I'm going to do is your cursor will turn into this now. Right click on it or left click on it. I'm going to do is type in retro. Retro vibes. Okay, retro vibes. I'm going to select all these areas and increase the size. You can see it has been applied. And I can apply like filters later on, but I'm going to do is click on this option, and I'm going to do is select on this move tool and paste it over here. I'm going to select on this text tool again, or double tap on it. I'm going to do is select on the color. I'm going to do is, or maybe go over to properties, or select on this tool, which is going to be this one. I'm going to do is select on this color. I can also select this color, which is like totally up to you. I'm going to work with it. So I'm going to select on this color, or maybe something around this. That also works, but I'm going to do is keep it over here so that it is a lot visible. And I'm going to do is click on it, and I'm going to do is make some, let's say, strokes on it. Okay, I'm going to go over to layers, right click on it. What I'm going to do is go over to blending option and add in a couple of strokes, which is going to be something like this. Click on strokes. What I'm going to do is click on color. I'm going to select on this color, okay, because I selected that one. What I'm going to do is go over to stroke and then select those ones. You can increase the strokes if you want to. Press on OK. Select the size if I want to, and fix the opacity. That's like totally up to me how I want to work with it. You can go over to blending option and all of those. Let's say I'm going to keep it to be opacity 100%. I can multiply it if I want to. I can use color burn, whichever filter you want to use. Let's say I'm going to use normal, and I'm going to go over to strokes again, or maybe go over to shadows. Let's say I'm going to do is add in a bit of shadow, which I want to use. Let's say I'm going to keep the chokes, sizes, and all of those. What I'm going to do is keep it above here. Okay, if it doesn't work, just go over to the list layer, and you'll be able to apply it for various purposes. What I'm going to do is, as I'm done, I'm going to select on layers again and convert all of them into a like smart object. But first I'm going to do is first off convert to layers. What I'm going to do is go over to this and extend it and resize this rectangle. If you want to do that, you can keep it like this if you want to, but if you don't want to, you cannot keep it. That's like totally up to you. What I'm going to do is remove this because I don't need it anymore. But if you do want it, you can also keep it. That's like totally up to you how you're going to work with it. So I'm going to do is keep it like this as this works. I'm going to click on this tool, retro vibes, as that has been applied. What I'm going to do is keep the retro vibes. Let's say I'm going to do is align it. That is perfect. What I'm going to do is convert all of them into a smart object. Let's say I'm going to select on this and retro vibes, convert to smart object. Now all of them has turned into a smart object. Now what we're going to do is open up the mockup file. Okay, what I'm going to do is remove all of them because I don't need them anymore. We'll remove them. No. And I'm going to do is open up the mockup file, go over to open. What I'm going to do is go down, and I have a PSD file which is going to be the t-shirt. So I'm going to do is go down a bit more. I'm going to do is use that PSD file, which is going to be the t-shirt, okay, which I'm going to mock it up on and then use it for various purposes. I'm going to go over to downloads. If I have it over there, you can see white shirt. I'm going to do is click on continue, and you can see this has been applied. What I'm going to do is first off convert it into a layer first. You can see normal layer. What I'm going to do is select the part which I need, which is going to be this t-shirt. Okay, I can mock it up for later purpose. But if you have a PSD file that is a lot more better, you can use it on a PSD file and also on a JPG. That's like totally up to you. But you can also copy this and take it for various purposes. What I'm going to do is select on this tool. I'm going to go over and paste it over here. You can see how it actually looks like. I'm going to do is resize it. I can see how good it actually looks. Okay, you can right click on it. I'm going to go over there, and you can go over to blending option and all of those and change the color if you don't want it to be black and white. You can keep it to be colored if you want to. Let's say I'm going to go over there and go over to color gradient. I don't want white color, so I'm going to go and select the ones which I actually need. You can see this has turned into total black. So I'm going to click on gradient overlay because I don't need it. You can also use color overlay and press on OK. And if it's still not visible, what you're going to do is press on Ctrl Z, keep it like this. Now go over to filters and select on filter gallery and liquify. You can use whichever one you want. If it's not making any color, then what you have to do is like select on another PSD file, because sometimes some layers are like totally or on default in grayscale. Okay, but yet you can see this looks a lot more better. What you're going to do is right click on it, go over to blending option, and then what we're going to do is remove the white parts. If you want to do that, what you're going to do is select on this layer. So I'm going to do this layer to be removed. You can see the layer or the white part has been a lot removed. Okay, I'm going to do is keep it like this. keep it something like this. I can see it looks a lot more better. After you're done, just press on OK. Now you have a t-shirt design. Let's say I'm going to do is select both of them and convert into smart object. I can see the t-shirt design has been made. So hope you guys understood everything about this lesson on how you'll be able to make a retro, a car t-shirt design with Adobe Photoshop. And that is like very simple, because if you followed or if you've seen the previous videos, you already know how to make a t-shirt design, and that is quite simple. You just have to maintain a couple of orders and a couple of, let's say, couple of steps, okay, and then later on just convert it into a smart object. You can also rasterize this effect or rasterize the layer and then put it on the t-shirt file. So hope you understood everything about this lesson, and thank you for watching this video. And if you feel like you didn't understand a part, and if you feel like it was a bit complex and you're facing some problems, please let us know and we will guide you through the process.